Hello there, welcome back to my channel, Snips by Kelly. I'm Kelly and today is a very exciting day on Snips by Kelly. Those of you who have followed close to my heart as well as myself know that we had cute little autumn gnomes. We had adorable winter gnomes, and guess what? It's spring and now we have this little cutie. Spring gnomes. Gnomes for Spring is here, and we're going to start our Gnomes for Spring series right here on this channel. I have 5 adorable layouts for you featuring our Gnomes for Spring product bundle. Feel free to jump right in and create right along with me. I'm going to be careful to give measurements and lots of details, so if you just want to jump in and you already have the product, jump on in and let's create together. If you haven't checked out the Gnomes for Spring, I'll link how you can get your hands on that cute bundle in the description. But with that, let's get started on layout 1, Gnomes for Spring. I'm so excited. Let's go. Let's check out the product bundle. I typically go with the product bundle because it has all the things and it's the biggest discount. That way I can go any direction. So the product bundle includes the Gnomes for Spring scrapbooking stamp and thin cut, which has all these great spring icons. We have the umbrella, the kite, the butterfly, watering can, the adorable little snail, some flowers and a rainbow, and some really large, great title stamps. I really love it. Then we also, of course, have the woman of the hour, our little gnome for spring. And she's quite layered. She has a lot of pieces to her. And so let's take a look at those thin cuts. So she has a base piece, which would be your skin tone, as well as the base of the gnome that you would build on. And then she has several pieces to her umbrella. So a cute little stitched hat. And then the umbrella, like if you would like to have the handle a different color than the top. So you have the handle, then you have a stitched top. And then her dress. And that has a little stitching in it as well, a cute little ruffle, her little shoes, a little nose, a little hand, 2 braids, 1 for each side, and then a couple little bows for each of the braids. So cute. I love it. It also includes the card making stamp, which has great sentiments in it for cards, and a few you could use on scrapbooking as well. Then we have spring acrylic shapes. Of course, the pattern paper and sticker sheet is always included in the bundle. Great banners, lots of title opportunities. We have some journal spaces. We have some longer zip style stickers. Let's check out the pattern paper and sticker sheet. Here is something super cool and unique. We have a word swirl, a great stripe, a crisscross pattern, some pretty clouds, and then our 2 busy hero papers. You can see if you are anti-gnome, which I can hardly imagine, there is a gnome specific sheet and then a spring sheet. So you can really take it in the direction of spring if you don't want those gnomes, and then concentrate on the Gnomes for Spring scrapbooking stamp and thin cut that I just showed, and you wouldn't have to have the large gnome in there at all. I am going to include her because I love her and I love playful layouts like that. So I've taken all of the sticky off of the sticker sheet with my anti-static pouch, and I put the titles with the titles, the smaller words together, the circle hearts and ovals together, and all of the banners and tabs together. And then on the sticker sheet, we also have this large zip style sticker that I'm just going to add with my zip strips. And I usually just clip those together and put those on my junk Gypsy tray. So they're right there when I'm ready to create. So I'm going to flip my junk Gypsy tray over, and we're going to fill up this side with some of those thin cuts that I just showed you that are in the bundle. So I've created all of the thin cuts for the Gnomes for Spring scrapbooking set out of scraps of white daisy. And then I'm going to stamp all of those in intense black. Now, and I'm doing that because I'm choosing to color with tri-blend markers. So you could color with anything that you want, but I have chosen to stamp in intense black because I'm going to color with the tri-blend markers on top of that. I made way more than we're probably going to need, and I always do that, especially because I'm creating 5 layouts. I want to make sure that I have enough. And I store the rest right in the stamp envelope if I have extras, so that next time I need one for a card or something like that, I have plenty. So you don't have to make as many as I make, and you can wait till the end of the series if you want to see what the final answer is. So I'm going to flip my Versamat around, cover it with my all-purpose mat because it's wipeable. It's always best to stamp on the spongy side of the Versamat or on the foam that comes in your stamp set. And then I also have my stamp chamois here ready so that I can clean my blocks. I have just a couple of those thin cuts here. I have the watering can in the rainbow. I'm going to season my stamp by pressing it into my skin so that I can season it and get some of the oils from my skin. You can also stamp it off several times until you get a good clean stamp. So when I'm stamping here, I'm noticing that my intense black pad is dry. So I'm going to grab my re-inker and I'm going to go vertically, horizontally, and on a diagonal a couple times to get a nice moist pad. Now our re-inkers absolutely sold out. As soon as Close to My Heart announced that they were closing its doors, and makers are done on April 30th, and Close to My Heart is done at the end of June, and they did reorder these re-inkers. So if you are in a panic because you don't have re-inkers for your existing stamp pads, they should be coming back this month. So be sure that you check out the shop site. It was just like they sold out overnight when Close to My Heart made the announcement. So now I'm going to stamp this, like I said, in intense black, and then I'll stamp the rest of them off camera, and we'll fill up our junk Gypsy tray with our thin cuts. We'll also make some gnomes to go in there, and then I also have just a few Cricut cuts to add. So this series is going to be filled with all kinds of different bits, and it's going to be fun. We're going to have so much playful fun. I can't wait. So you can see how I store my extras right in the envelope. And then I also made some of those same icons out of some of the colors that were on the zip strip. So some lemonade and some limeade, as well as I believe some jade and glacier and flamingo. Yeah, I don't know if I'll use them, but I just thought to have some variation in the junk Gypsy tray. Again, this is taking a little longer on the front end because I'm showing you how I made all of the bits for the entire layout. So if it gets a little long for you, I do put chapters on my videos. Just fast forward to the chapter where we get down to business and we start creating. So I'm going to show you how these bits and pieces go. So I've used ballerina for all the bases of my gnomes. If you want a different skin tone, you can change your ballerina to a different color. And then I've used espresso for all of the umbrella bases, and then I've made a variety of umbrella tops, including some that are made out of pattern paper and some that are made out of the coordinating cardstock. Same with the dresses. I've made some out of pattern paper and some out of the coordinating cardstocks, as well as the hats. The same thing with the hats. And then for the noses and the hands, I made those out of the light side ballerina. So again, if you want a different skin tone, you just change out that color. And then I also, let's see, I made the shoes, all of the shoes out of espresso. And then for the braids, I did honey butter for blonde, and then I did espresso for brown. I did add a little pumpkin, even though it's not part of this collection, any of the coordinating colors. I did pumpkin, so we had a little bit of a couple little redheads. And then let's see, I did light acorn for a little light brown. And I made a variety. So you can make your hair color any color that you wish. And then I made the bows for the braids, the coordinating colors. And so I do have a little bit of a rhyme or reason. So I matched the the umbrellas with the dresses. So whatever colors the umbrellas were, that's what color I made the dresses. And then did I match the hat with the dress? Nope, it was the umbrellas, I believe, and the dresses is how I kind of did that. And then there's also a little leaf flourish that I made out of jade, and I made all of the gnomes leaf flourishes out of jade because it was a coordinating color. And then there's a little flower that goes on top that I made out of a variety of the coordinating cardstocks. And that, I think, is all the pieces. So what I do when I get ready to prep for a workshop is I make all the pieces and I assemble the thin cuts ahead of time. I make all of the other thin cuts and I color those with the tri-blend markers ahead of time. And then if there's Cricut cuts that I need to create and assemble, I make all those ahead of time. So don't worry if you're a person that just likes to make your pieces after you've made your base layouts. I like to make a whole bunch of pieces ahead of time and not have to think about that through the rest of the workshop. And then if there's extra pieces, I just stick them with the stamps and thin cuts and with the pieces that I made those out of, and I'll use those again later on cards. I love doing it that way. I'd love to hear from you how you like to do it. Everyone is so different in how they do it. All right, now that we have those pieces discussed, let's go ahead and assemble one of the gnomes. And then once we're done with that one gnome, I will assemble all the rest of the gnomes off camera. So I'm using some liquid Tombow. And what you want to do is put the dress on and then the collar. Don't watch me here. I forget to put the white collar on and I put the hair on, but I actually need the collar to be under the hair. So go ahead and put the collar on and then put the hair on, and then you can put the other bits on after that. They will all go on great after that. You can put the shoes on before or after the dress because those will fit flush right under the dress. You can put the umbrella base on at any point because there's a little hole for the hand. And then I also cut the umbrella off of 4. I believe I made 12 gnomes altogether. And then with the umbrella, I believe, we'll have to look here. It might have been 8 and 4, but I think that I cut the umbrella off of 4 so that the gnome could be by herself. And then I actually made some loose umbrellas as well. So I made a lot. I can't imagine that I'll be using all of those, but I wanted to have a variety to choose from. So then once you have the umbrella base in place, then you can put the umbrella top on, and I'm doing a little coordinating here. Now I'll know, yep, I matched the umbrella with the dress on all the gnomes. So if it was a yellow umbrella, it was a yellow dress. If it was a striped umbrella, it's a striped dress, and so on and so forth. And then I coordinated the hat with a coordinating color. But sometimes I don't know, like when I'm creating, if there's a rhyme or reason, I try to create little patterns if I can of how I did things, and then it's easier to remember when I'm all done. And then you add the little hand in there. I did pop up the nose with foam tape. And then I did also pop up the flower on top of the leaf. There's a little notch there that you can match the leaf up on the hat, so you'll know right where it goes. There's a little bit of a, what do you want to call it? A little round embossed area on the flower from the thin cut. And so I had the urge to put something in there, and I do end up putting some of our honey bunny dots in there to decorate. I contemplated using the spring shapes, like maybe the little flower spring shapes on there, but I ended up using honey bunny dots, at least on layout 1, I did. Okay, so now I'm having to pick up the hair because I realized that I didn't put the ruffle on in the right order. So hopefully I caught you and reminded you of that so that you don't have the same problem that I do. She's so cute. So one of the biggest questions that we've received ever since Close to My Heart has sadly announced that it's closing its doors is if we're going to get the summer gnome. Oh my word. So we'll have autumn and we have winter and we have spring, and it just feels incomplete. And so for those of you that have been following closely what's been happening with Close to My Heart, they've been working with Stampin' Up! And for Stampin' Up! To be able to kind of merge some of their great Stampin' Up! Products with our Close to My Heart products. And they're working on purchasing some of our product lines as well as some of our patents and copyrighted materials. And so it's really, really exciting to be in on the ground floor of some groundbreaking pathways that they're creating in Stampin' Up! And I think Stampin' Up! Demonstrators are super excited that they're going to get a scrapbooking line, and Close to My Heart is excited that Stampin' Up! Has made a new home for us when our beloved Jeanette closes her doors, and such a wonderful thing for Jeanette to do to try to help find a place for us to be, to carry on some of the same great scrapbooking traditions. And so you'll have to stay tuned and check that out when I do plan to go over to Stampin' Up! On May 1st, and I'm so excited to see what they have for us. So here is all of the details. So here you can see blue with blue and yellow with yellow. It's so cute. So I have I did do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 full gnomes and 4, so 12 altogether, 4 without the umbrella that I snipped the umbrella off of, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 loose umbrellas. Again, we probably won't use all of those, but just so you know what I've done. Let's go ahead and talk about tri-blends. So I used 5 tri-blend markers: earth brown blend, light green blend, citrus blend, aqua blue blend, and pale pink blend. So I narrowed it down to those 5, and I'll also link those in the description. But how I narrow down my markers is I put out swatches of the coordinating colors that are listed on our branding or our zip strips. And then I match markers up to those colors and I narrow it down from there. So a lot of the coloring that I've done on the Gnomes for Spring Scrapbooking Stampin' Thin Cuts here is pretty basic because they're small pieces, so there's not a lot of blending. I did a little bit of blending on the butterflies by coloring the centers of the butterflies in light and then coming back in with medium or dark on the lines and then another color on the edges. The only other one that I did blending on was the leaves in the flowers. So I came in with a lighter green and then over on the lines of the leaves with a medium or a dark. Otherwise, all of the coloring, if you use those colors that I mentioned, those colors are going to coordinate with the colors that are in the coordinating cardstocks and the coordinating colors of Gnomes with Spring. And that's really my way of cheating because I'm not always that great at figuring out marker colors or matching up colors. And sometimes that can be so time consuming to go through all of your markers and figure out the marker colors. But I've found that the very fastest way that I have to really ensure that I'm going to have great color matching is by matching the markers up to the swatches. And it just really works really, really well for me. So now I'm just going to color. On the kites, I did make some variations of those same colors. The rainbows I did all the same. I did vary the flower tops a little bit with those colors. I varied the butterflies. The watering cans I colored all the same, but super easy coloring. You can see those bits and pieces there. And again, I may or may not use all of those pieces. I just like to create extra so that I have those throughout the 5 layouts here. Really easy coloring, and I love how bright and springy it all looks. So I am actually not choosing photos for my layout this evening, or possibly for the other layouts in the series as well. And my reason why, normally I do, but my reason why is we have a lot of things coming up. So I'm going to be going and touring some gardens with a girlfriend. We of course have Easter coming up. I have a lot of spring things that I do with grandkids. So I wanted to reserve these. They're going to be so cute. And so I wanted to reserve these for a couple of those things. The other reason I'm not is our spring is ugly. So I'm always so jealous when I see all of these Easter photos with the lush green grass and tulips and beautiful flowers, and our spring comes so much later than everyone else's, it seems. Like, it's super brown now. It hasn't started to green up. None of the flowers are coming up. We actually just had snow. The snow is melted right now, but it's very possible we could have snow still yet to come. So it's not uncommon to be gathering Easter eggs with snowsuits on or coats on or hats and mittens around here. So I really wanted to reserve these. They're going to be so cute. So I don't want to just pick something to pick something. I know that some people out there really believe firmly that that you should not do photos on your layouts after the fact, but honestly, it works really well for me, especially because I use a PictureMate 400 and I do my printing at home using print to size. I waste a lot less photo printing. I am not kidding you. Yes, the photo paper is more expensive, but I end up saving money in the long run because I don't have boxes of photos sitting around that I don't end up using. I actually print the exact photos and the exact size that I need on the created layout. So I do it both ways. There are many times where I have my photos and my photo sizes before I create, and I create around that, but there's also many times when I actually add the photos after the fact, and it doesn't bother me a bit. All right, so there we have our bits for the Junk Gypsy tray. So I'm just kind of putting themes together, the garden-y themes together, and putting all my bits in there. Yay, the Junk Gypsy tray is getting so full and fun. Look at all that fun. It's going to be so colorful and so fun. I did add a few Cricut Cuts, one little theme for each layout. So I have fences, I have the boots, I have a watering can with a splash, a rainbow, some flowers, and 2 flower boxes. And for tonight, we're going to use the fences, and this is what I've chosen for photos. So we have 3 4x4s and 2 3x4s. Not a ton of photos tonight, but just some good featured spring photos. And I wanted to kind of think about having the fences asymmetrical and kind of toggle them on the left page and then have them symmetrical on the right to develop some nooks and crannies for our gnomies and our little bits. So I have a 12x12 glacier background, 11 3/4 by 11 3/4 white daisy on top of that. And then I'm going to add some corner pieces. So I have taken a 9 1/4 by 9 1/4 glacier piece and cut it in half on a diagonal. And then I'm going to take the Busy Garden paper, the one without the gnomes, and I'm going to cut a 9 by 9 square on a diagonal. So there's just a little bit of that glacier that shows through on the diagonal. I've actually mounted my photos with Flamingo, which is a coordinating color, by just 1/4 of an inch. And then I actually am struggling a little bit with the honey butter. And so I'm going to give you the final measurements. They're not this size right now. I end up having to change them, but I'm going to tell you the final measurements of the honey butter. We have a 7 by 8 is the final size on the left page, and then 8 1/2 by 8 1/2 is the final measurements of the right page. It seems like it takes me a while to work it out and to sort of figure out how to get my photos to fit. I want the honey butter in the background to make that stand out and to pop. And then it also helps me, again, make some more nooks and crannies for all of those cute little bits that we have in our junk Gypsy tray. But it takes me a little bit to sort of figure it out and turn it the right way, and I end up trimming a little bit more off the top. And then I also don't want it to hang down too low below the fence. I kind of want it to stop on an even line. So I end up moving up the left side and moving up the right side so that the bottom of the honey butter hits at kind of a natural stopping point instead of hanging below. You can see how it's kind of hanging below over on the left, and it looks a little wonky. So it takes me just a minute to get it all figured out. And then I believe I start the honey butter piece on the left page at the 2-inch mark, if you're wondering, like around where it starts on that. So I'm so excited for this series, and I too, like all the customers, am on the edge of my seat wondering if we're going to get that summer gnome. I had a dream in my head that when the summer gnome came out, and then we had all 4 gnomes, winter, spring, summer, and fall, or autumn, that we could do a culmination workshop or even layout with all 4, and how fun that would be. So I'm gonna be really sad if we don't get the summer gnome, but maybe Stampin' Up! Bought her. Maybe we'll somehow get her. Wouldn't that be great? All right, so you can see here where I've started that just on the other side of the 2, about 1 3/4 it looks. And then on the left page, I believe I started at the 2-inch mark. I actually put foam tape on the fence, but I left the foam tape off the very top so that I could adjust the large photo mats. And that really helped me a lot. To be able to add, and then I went back in and added that foam tape on the top part of the fence when I was all done. So just getting the photos straight here. It seems like it's taken me a little bit to get this figured out because I want the Cricut pieces and the thin cut pieces to really be super cute but not chunky. I really want it to flow and have a nice scope and sequence where the photos just fit right in there and you have just enough of the icons that it looks really super adorable but not junked up. You know, not overdone. So I'm fussing and I'm fussing and I'm stopping and starting and fussing again. Oh, the beauty of fast forward. I'm getting there. I'm getting really close. Do you ever have one of those days where it seems like the simplest step takes you the longest and you're not sure why? Well, that was me today. It just seems like I couldn't quite get it to where I felt good, where it was looking right by my eyes. And I also kind of want to have a little peeking gnome. I was lucky enough to be the guest designer for winter gnomes, and I love making them kind of playful. Like some people really love to take a serious twist and make it just more beautiful or serene, and I love that too. But whenever we get characters, I do love a playful aspect. I really do, like beautiful and playful at the same time. All right, so now we get to shop the junk Gypsy tray. All of the pieces that we stocked, we get to shop them now. I'm so excited to do it that way. So I'm going to use a striped umbrella over on the right, I think. And then I love the idea of this one peeking out. Now I can actually remake her and just do the top parts of her and save some of the bottom bits, but I'm going to stick her in here as a whole just so that I can see if I like it first and then kind of adjust it with the umbrella. And it's so stinking cute. I love her just peeking over the top. Those little gnomes are mischievous and cute and fun and playful. So we want them doing playful things on the pages. So the autumn gnomes, workshop that I created. They were playing on big whiskey barrels, and they were playing in the wheelbarrow, and they were playing in the, I think a basket of leaves maybe, and they were raking. And then the winter gnomes were slip sliding all over the place off the page. And now these little gnomes are going to have some fun in some boots and some fun with the rainbow and the fence and a flower box. And I think we're just going to have so much fun. So I have a loose flower. I love that about the thin cuts, that you can make some of those loose flowers as well. I think I only had one extra, and I think it was because I miscalculated on the hats, but I may end up making some more. So I think I'll stick these Cricut flowers in there. Looking at some of my Cricut cuts, I like having the little rose of flower, and that adorable little snail maybe would fit over, like the little gnome peeking out is shy, and she has a little snail that's her friend, and then a little snail on the bottom with the row of flowers. So cute. It's coming together. I know you're probably were thinking, is this ever going to come together? It's going to. It's a lot of prep work to get ready for a full workshop. So now let's take a look at some of our title opportunities. Lots of title opportunities in this one with the stickers on the sticker sheet as well as the stamps. So we have some great title opportunities with the stamps as well. So I'm just trying some things on for size, and I think I love this one. I think I love this one, and I think it just goes perfectly along the picket fence. Really super cute. And then we can add those flowers across the bottom, and it says, "Hooray for springtime." I feel like that's something a little gnomey would say. I'm so excited to hear from all of you, how many of you are into gnomes. A lot of the Snips by Kelly paper crafters are into gnomes. I do have a few that are not, that they would probably go the spring route for these, which is wonderful that they give us that option and that there's only one gnome specific paper in the whole paper pack. I love that. So cute. It's coming together. I do think we need something in the upper left there. I'm not quite sure what we could put up there. If there's a little word, I love that little beautiful tab over to the right, just a tiny bit over there with that flower. And of course we have our acrylic shapes. So I definitely want to add some of the acrylic shapes. There's butterflies and flowers in the spring shapes. And I'm just trying a few things on for size, and I actually decide to go with a little stripe pattern paper strip and tear that and then add a heart sticker on top. I feel like I have a little too much yellow. And so I wanted to go with maybe a pink or a blue, and all of the longer stickers that I thought might work up there were either honey butter or lemonade, and they were blending in a little bit too much. So I wanted them to stand out a little bit. I think the heart's going to work, but it needs something underneath it. And so I'm sort of looking for something. That one, I didn't want to go with title and title because I really want to reserve that in case I need another title. And I decide to go with that striped paper underneath, just about 1/4 inch, and then I tore the edges. And now I put the flowers from the acrylic spring shapes onto the thin cut flowers, thinking it needs something in the center, but I don't quite like that look. And so I'm thinking and I'm thinking and I'm thinking what I could do. And I have some honey butter dots, honey butter. I have a heck of a time with honey butter and honey bunny. So our other main line this month is honey bunny, and there is honey butter is a color, a featured color in the honey bunny collection. Anyhow, I have some honey butter, honey bunny dots left over. And I'm a speech pathologist. Oh my word. And I think I end up using those honey butter honey bunny dots inside the center, and I like that better. Yes, I like that better. I'm getting happy adding the little butterfly trails with the black Le Pen, and I'm loving how that's turning out. I sure hope that you enjoyed this and that you'll hit the subscribe and notifications bell so you don't miss layout number 2 in the Gnomes for Spring series. Thanks for hanging out with me. It was so much fun. We'll see you next time right here on Snips by Kelly. Bye-bye.